Hello, I'm Alan Butler with Butler Contracting, and today I'd like to talk to you about a recent fence project that our team has completed. I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about fencing, the quality and styles and types of fencing, and some of the options that are out there and available, and how we do things a little bit different than our competitors. And today I want to talk about privacy fencing. It's probably the most common phone calls we get and requests for fencing is privacy fencing. There's lots of different styles, types, and options. This particular fence was a 6 foot tall, board on board, privacy fence with a top cap rail. It's a little bit more unique than some of the ones we typically do. We also installed a rot board on the bottom. These particular fences are a little bit more pricey than the standard, just run of the mill, 6 foot tall privacy fence that's on most subdivision homes. So we wanted to explain a little bit of the difference of why it's a good idea to go with this style of fence, even though it might be a little bit more initial investment up front. There are some added advantages long term if you plan to stay in the home with going with the style of fence. So first thing I'd like to point out is our post style and type that we use. And we use a Schedule 20 metal post, and this is a 14 gauge pipe. So in Bastrop County, as we mentioned in previous videos before that we've done on fencing, no one locally sources or sells those. The thickest gauge that we can find is between 16 and 18 gauge. And they're mostly carried by local suppliers for the county for road signs. So we cannot find the actual size pipe that we need. And if you use an undersized pipe that's less than 14 inches or 14 gauge, it will actually, all the weight of the fence will actually cause that fence to blow over and bend and buckle. So the wind shear factor is 120 mile-an-hour winds that these posts will sustain. Most building codes like Elgin requires at least a 90 mile-an-hour wind shear, but those 18 gauge posts don't exceed that rate by the building code. So we go with these style posts, but there's still lots of folks out there using chain link style post and street sign style post to build privacy fences. So just keep that in mind if you're looking around and you're getting different estimates, making sure that you know what kind of material they're using, because if they're using the improper material, you could have a serious issue down the road. The other thing is, on most of our pedestrian gates, this is a slide gate, but our pedestrian gates, we actually bump up to a Schedule 40 post, which is 11 gauge in thickness, and that's a little bit more structurally stable for those styles of gates. So just some different added advantages of using those things. You're going to last longer. You're not going to have structural failure later on, wind damage, storm damage. You don't have to pay insurance premiums to get things fixed. It just makes sense to go with that better quality product up front, and it saves you a lot of heartache, hassle, and money in the long run. But a couple of things I want to point out on these particular fences. Many of our 6 foot privacy fences, we always go with a 3-railed system. It's more structurally stable. It helps keep those pickets in line and straight throughout the course of its life. If you just try to save money and eliminate the middle one, the middle seems to tend to bow and buckle out as they try to dry out and warp. The bottom here, we used a rot board. So it's basically a 2x6 in the bottom. So the advantage of going with a rot board system is that these boards down the road, if they tend to rot out or go bad, we can pop them out and replace them fairly easy and simply without having to take all the pickets off the fence. And it also gets these pickets elevated off the ground. So if you have a sprinkler or irrigation system, if there's drainage problems where you live, those pickets aren't always on the ground collecting and drawing moisture and waking up into the bottoms of the pickets. That causes additional moisture, rot, and decaying and warping of the boards, and that's what causes a lot of those 6 foot privacy fences to fail. The pickets come off, they get warped, they crack, they split, they break. So having that rot board in there is very advantageous because it's a lot cheaper just to replace some 2x6s over time as they go bad, rather than taking the entire fence down and redoing it and replacing all of those pickets. So that's one advantage. We try to encourage our customers to do that. Usually it's only about a $200 or $300 difference in price on most average fences to install those, but we definitely recommend them. In addition, our pickets, we use a 3/4 inch picket. Now, most of the ones at Lowe's, Home Depot, and the big box stores, they are a 5/8 thick wide picket, so they're a lot thinner and they warp a lot easier. The density of the wood's not as great and they don't last as long. They tend to rot out faster, and those 5/8 ones also seem to bow and buckle. All of our wood is locally sourced here in Tomball, Texas, and East Texas from the supplier we get it through. So it has Texas growing conditions. It doesn't come from an area that has lots of dormant growing seasons throughout the year with the winter. So the wood seems to be a lot more dense. It holds up longer. It's more suited for our environments with the humidity, and it just seems to be an all-around better product as opposed to some of the other suppliers we've used in the past. This particular fence also is the customer wanted a slide gate, so we're going to come back later and install an actual automatic gate opener. They just wanted to get this up due to budgetary constraints, and then later when they're able to save up, we're going to install a better system here for them that's going to be an automatic gate opener. But right now it's just a nice, simple, easy slide gate. It opens and closes, so it can all be done manually. It's a real heavy system, but it works out great. It's on rollers. It's really easy. I can just push this thing, put a little weight into it, but it rolls fairly easy. I can do it with one hand. And we're going uphill right now. So those are some of the options that are out there. I would definitely recommend that you make this automatic, but it can be done manually if you want to get you by temporarily. So these are just some of the things that we like to explain on the difference in quality and the difference in what you're getting from hiring Butler Contracting versus some of our competitors and the type and style of work we do. So I just want to kind of go over some of those things today with the fencing and show you around and do a little show and tell about a cool project that we have the opportunity to do for our customers. So we appreciate your time, and we look forward to coming out and talking with you about building a fence. So give us a call at 844-6-BUTLER or check out our website at Butler.Contractors. Thank you. Have a good day.